Hi everyone, it's good to get back again. Last week was spent in a chair resting my poor foot. I had chilblains on one of my toes and it's not very nice, it's very painful, probably due to the fact I'm on warfarin, which thins the blood and also makes you feel cold all the time during these winter months. So roll on summer. Anyhow, I'm going to be wearing my telephone hat today and mention this phone that we're just looking at. Before I start, it was interesting, there was YouTube by Andy Shed, which if you're interested in telephones, it's well worth having a look at his videos, and he's very instructive, very clear on designs. Funny enough, he picked a phone up the other day from eBay, I presume it's eBay, which turned out to be a bit of a mystery, but it had a name on it which brought back memories to me many years ago. The company was called Modern Telephones, and it sort of sparked a thought. I've been after a phone for years. It's one I had as a kid and I don't know what happened to it, but I do know where there is one of those, or rather where there was one of those. There's a program on TV, it's by, and my name's not very good, it's called the something Mind. It's on the old, it was made in 1960s by Herbert Lom. He's a psychiatrist. Well, in his office, apart from a nice tape recorder that he has, a TK14, which I believe is a Grundig, remember those from my childhood, he had on his desk a white telephone, and I'm pretty sure this is the one that I'm trying to get a hold of, but you never see them. And I'm pretty sure that one could be a Modern Telephones phone. They were supplied to the private subscribers, something like telephone rentals, but I think in a much smaller way. Anyhow, as I say, anyone interested in telephone, it's worth having a look at his programs. They're very good. That's Andy Shed. He's on air from 6 o'clock, I think 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock on Sundays, and he concentrates, I think, mainly on the GPO type phones, 706s and the clones, and anything that looks like that. So it's worth watching, and you can pass comments as you go through. You get some interest of other stuff that's out there. Anyhow, enough of me chatting away. Here we have an Indian phone. This too, I think, was probably based on the 706 design. Let's just look. I'm sorry it's in bits, but it's easier to show it in bits to get into the interesting bits of it. Now, see here, it's IP&T, well, it's probably Indian Posts and Telecoms. You've got a date there, or we've got two dates, 86, 87. Plastic base, totally different to the older style of ITI phones, Indian Telephone Industries. Now this one, I've left it open so you can have a little look. Excuse it being in bits, but it's easier to explain as it's in bits. Here you've got a printed circuit board. And interesting to note that the Indian phones seem to just have two wires in, line 1 and line 2, or A and B. I think they call it line 1 and line 2. In America it could be tip and ring. But it's so much easy when it's just two wires. You've got your normal bits inside there. You've got your anti-sine tone coil, induction coil. 2 capacitors, obviously used to ring the bell, allows AC to pass through to ring the bell. You've got open spring sets here, which is more or less based on the old style, but they're strong and well made. The attachment here is all built in to the board, so the circuit board comes out with all those other bits on it. You've got like a regulator type idea there as well for those three components. Looking at the bell is totally different to a 706. It's totally different, well made. And it's sounding about right. When the hammer strikes the gong, it should strike but leave a tiny gap. That way you don't get deadening of the ring, you get a nice ting. Go back the other way. Because these are 2 bells which are slightly different to give you the right tone. Now we come to the dial. Now the telephone itself is made in India, but the dial is Japanese. It looks fairly flimsy, it's in plastic. Whenever I see stuff in plastic I think it's a bit nasty, but these are not bad. They're sort of based similar to the American style of dial, very similar. You've got your, if I can point to you, you've got your pulsing springs down here, the dial off normals, and the terminations are all on the side. You've got 5, I think it's 5 wire termination, and they go into the board. Is nice and clear. The dial itself, well, there's the regulator, standard dial. You've got their trademark, ITI, Indian Telephone Industries. Now let's have a look inside the case. You haven't just got one diagram, you've got 2. I'll hold it on there so anyone wants to take a copy of this, they can. It's a pretty standard type of diagram. ITI Limited, Alamabad, which is a town in India. They call it a telephone, looks like 877. No, 677. 677 auto. And you've got your diagram number there. Diagram itself is self-explanatory. Components are the standard ones used. And instructions underneath to say how you'd use it if it's without using a dial or an extra phone wired in or an extra bell wired in. But I mentioned that circuit diagram or circuit here. On the other side in the phone, you've got a diagram of that same circuit, and that's showing the circuit how it's wired up. and where all the parts are. It's not very clear, but that shows that. So you've got the two diagrams. Coming on to the receiver, very similar receiver to the 700 type, not identical but very similar. It's got the name on there, ITI, and their little trademark. The transmitter is of the old style carbon insert job that you'd find in some of the older English phones. It's I say a classic design, and you've seen in other phones that I've shown, so I won't take it out in this case. A bit fiddly, but that's the transmitter, and obviously they worked then and they obviously still work. In the earpiece you have well, I say, but it's similar to the BT rocking armature type, but it looks like their own design, but I think it is a rocking armature type receiver. Anyhow, what next do I say? Without putting it all back, and I've only got one pair of hands, so that could be a bit difficult. The dial itself is easy to put back in. You've got two little lugs there, and it's placed back in. I'll put the top on to show you what the phone looks like, fully dressed, rather than undressed, as you like. The screws are held in at the back. Three little, I say grub screws there, they're quite small screws, but they hold in. Now there's the phone itself. You've also got the ITI name on the top, with the handset sitting on top. So that, believe it or not, is the phone that I've just described. Sorry if I've been a bit long-winded, but I do like talking, and I have missed it the last few days, being stuck with my leg up on a chair, getting getting the pain to go, and feeding on paracetamols, which are not good, but at least they did alleviate the pain. Anyhow, thanks again for watching. As a reminder, Andy Jed, 6 o'clock Sundays. I don't think he'll mind me mentioning it. It is a very good programme, and if you've missed any of them, you can just go to his YouTube channel and have a look at any of the ones that have been. And they are recommended. And reminded of that last phone he showed, it had me thinking, but there was a name in there, Modern Telephones, and that gave the game away, and also reminded me that that was possibly the make of the phone that I want out of that old programme of the 60s. Herbert Lom, I think it's called something Jungle, Human Jungle or something. It's an hour programme, so it's shown in the 60s. They're very good actually. All right, a little bit old-fashioned, but you can see some old stuff as well, which is quite good. You do see the modern 706 just appearing as well, because that came about in about 1960s. I know when I joined GPO, that phone had just come out, so it was brand new then. Anyhow, I'm going to stop talking now. Any comments please make. Sorry if I don't get back to you. I always thank you on the phone. It's the easiest way of doing it. As you know, I wear several hats. The hat today is on phones. So we'll see what the next one is. Thanks again. Thanks for watching. Thank you.